Today's episode is How Inner Speech Fuels Confidence, Happiness, and Motivation. What if I told you that the most powerful influence on your future isn't your circumstances, but your own voice? Not the one the world hears when you speak aloud, but the silent one, the one narrating your life behind the scenes, the one commenting on your worth, your chances, your dreams, day after day, moment after moment. This inner dialogue you carry. It's not just mental noise, it's instruction, it's architecture, it's code. And with every sentence you whisper to yourself, whether you're aware of it or not, you're scripting the blueprint of your identity, your beliefs, your emotions, and your future behavior. The truth is, you're always programming something. The only question is, what? Are you programming doubt or certainty? Fear or courage? Lack or confidence? Vengeance or love? Let's step beyond the surface and uncover what's really shaping your life. And this isn't just psychology or neuroscience. It's spiritual truth. In the Bible, we read, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Proverbs 23:7. And again in Psalm 19:14, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight." Over and over, Scripture tells us, your inner dialogue matters. Jesus himself responded to the thoughts people had within themselves. Why? Because in the realm of spirit, your thoughts speak louder than words. So today, we're not just talking about confidence. We're unlocking the hidden, sacred language that forms your self-worth from the inside out. Let's decode it. Let's master it. Let's learn how to speak to ourselves in a way that aligns with the truth of who we really are. Because hidden in plain sight is a quiet language, a language of self-talk, belief, and assumption that's building your reality from the inside out. And once you become fluent in it, you don't just change how you feel, you change who you become. At the end of this video, I will give you some powerful affirmations that you can use every day to strengthen your commitment. So let's begin. Part 1. The Science of Confidence. Let's begin with something critical. Confidence is not a fixed trait. You weren't born with a limited amount of it. Confidence is not personality. It's a neurological pattern. In neuroscience, this pattern is tied directly to what's called the default mode network, or DMN. This is the part of your brain that activates when you're not focused on the outside world, when your mind turns inward. It's where you reflect on yourself. It's where your self-image, or your identity, and your mental habits of inner speech are constantly rehearsed. This is your internal narrator. It's the voice that says, "I am not able to do this. It's not for me. It's not my world. I'm not smart enough." And here's the catch. Every time you engage in this kind of self-talk, especially when it's negative, you're strengthening it. You're not just thinking a thought. You're carving a neurological groove through a process known as neuroplasticity. The brain literally rewires itself to make that thought more dominant, more automatic, more familiar. And then something else kicks in. The Reticular Activating System, or RAS. This is your brain's internal filter. It scans your environment and prioritizes what matches your dominant thoughts and beliefs. So if your inner speech constantly tells you, "I'm not good enough," guess what? Your RAS begins tuning your attention to anything that reinforces that idea, ignoring evidence to the contrary. It's like setting your internal GPS to self-doubt. And everywhere you go, you find reasons to believe it. But here's the twist. The system works both ways. If you change the story, if you begin to speak to yourself with love, clarity, belief, and compassion, you engage that same neural machinery to build confidence, to create motivation, and even to increase your baseline happiness. You're not stuck with the default. you can rewrite it, because confidence isn't something you have, it's something you practice, one inner sentence at a time. Part 2. Inner speech. Let's talk about something we all experience but rarely examine. Inner speech, that silent voice in your head, the one that comments on your every move. You may think it's just thinking, but it's far more powerful than that. Inner speech is not passive, it's subconscious instruction every time you speak to yourself, silently or out loud. You are literally giving your brain directions and instructions, telling it what to believe, what to notice, what to expect, and most of all, who you are. So when you say, "I'm not capable to do this," or "I'm not confident enough," you're not just observing reality. You're programming your nervous system to reinforce that identity, neurologically, emotionally, and behaviorally. But the opposite is also true. When you say, "I am confident," "I trust myself," "I am becoming the kind of person who takes action," your nervous system listens. With consistency, your brain begins to treat those statements not as wishful thinking, but as operating instructions. Through repetition, your inner dialogue begins to alter your posture, your tone of voice, your decisions, and even how others perceive you. It's not just motivational, it's biological. Mystic teacher Neville Goddard famously said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." At first glance, that sounds poetic, but if you look deeper, it's actually describing something very real: the brain's ability to rewire itself around identity and belief. Modern neuroscience confirms it. When you assume a new identity in thought and feeling, your brain forms new pathways. And the more vividly and frequently you affirm this version of yourself, the more real it becomes, not just in your mind, but in your actions, habits, and results. In this light, affirmations are not magic spells. They are neural commands, spoken instructions to the subconscious mind. You are literally telling your brain, "This is who I am now. Make it true." And over time, it will. Because identity is not something you inherit. It's something you declare and reinforce, word by word, thought by thought. Part 3. The spiritual layer. Let's go deeper now, beyond the science, into the soul of confidence. Because real confidence isn't about being louder than your fear. It's not about domination, ego, or proving something to the world. Confidence is not arrogance, it's alignment. Alignment with what? With your true nature. The deeper self beyond conditioning, roles, or external identity. This is where the great spiritual traditions converge. In Hermetic philosophy, taught by Hermes Trismegistus, we hear, "As within, so without, as above, so below, as the universe, so the soul." Your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, assumptions, is not separate from what shows up in your outer experience. Reality is reflective. In the Upanishads, the ancient wisdom texts of India, we find this powerful idea. The self is Brahman, the ultimate reality, which means the true self within you is already whole, already divine, already complete. You don't need to go out into the world and collect confidence like a badge. You don't need to earn your worthiness. You need to remember the spiritual task is not self-improvement, it's self-recognition. To wake up from the illusion that you are small, broken, or defined by your past. You are not your circumstances. You are not your childhood story. You are not the labels the world has put on you. You are consciousness, alive, aware, and creative. You are the one who chooses thoughts and in doing so, shapes matter with belief. True confidence is the quiet power that flows when you live from that place. It doesn't seek approval because it's not performing. It doesn't shout because it's not afraid. It simply radiates from stillness, from center, from the knowing that I am. So this isn't about building something external. It's about reclaiming your inner authority. Confidence at its highest level is a spiritual recognition that you and the source of life are not separate. That's the foundation. And from that foundation, everything else becomes possible. Part 4. Practical Techniques. Now that we've explored the science and the spirit behind confidence, happiness, and motivation, let's bring it down to earth. Transformation happens through practice, not once, not twice, but through daily, conscious repetition that tells your brain, this is who I am now. Here are 4 high-impact techniques to help you rewire your inner dialogue, reshape your identity, and embody confidence, happiness, and motivation from the inside out. Point 1. Morning neural priming. The first 5 minutes of your day are neurologically golden. Your brain is in a highly suggestible theta state, ready to absorb input like a sponge. Use this time to prime your nervous system with aligned, identity-based affirmations. Each morning, stand up, breathe deeply, and say out loud, I am confident, I am aligned. Everything is fine, I trust my mind and my voice. Don't just say the words, feel them. At first it will seem awkward and fake, that's normal. You are not yet at the same vibrational frequency as these words, but even if it seems awkward at first, act as if it were true. It's the law of assumption. Your brain doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It only knows repetition and emotion. This single habit begins to encode a new operating system. You are not just thinking differently, you are being differently. Point 2. Rewrite the script. You can't change what you don't see. So bring your subconscious dialogue into the light. Grab a journal and write down the self-doubt phrases you catch yourself thinking. Common ones include, I'm not going to make it, it's too difficult. I'm not ready. I'll never be as good as them. I'm not smart enough. Now, consciously reframe each one. For example, I'm not going to make it, it's too difficult, becomes, I am learning and I improve every day. I'm not ready becomes, I am growing stronger and I rise to the moment. The goal isn't blind positivity, it's constructive self-leadership, training your brain to think in a way that supports growth instead of reinforcing fear. Point 3. Future memory visualization. This is where imagination becomes transformation. Set aside just 5 minutes a day to visualize your confident self in action. Not a fantasy version. Your future self, grounded and real, handling a situation with calm and clarity. See the posture. Hear your voice. Steady, warm, self-assured. Feel the emotions. Ease, trust, flow. By rehearsing these inner scenes, you're installing future memories. Neural blueprints your brain begins treating as familiar territory. And the more familiar it feels, the easier it becomes to live it in real life. Point 4. Inner speech audit. This is your moment-to-moment practice. Throughout the day, pause and ask yourself, would I speak to someone I love this way? Would I say this to a child, a friend, my future self? If not, stop, reframe, realign, redirect. Catch the micro moments, the passing thoughts, the subtle self-deprecations. They matter, because your inner speech isn't just commentary, It's creative power in action. Every time you choose a kinder word, a more empowering phrase, you shift your trajectory. Not just emotionally, but neurologically, spiritually, and energetically. Practice these techniques daily. Let them become rituals of remembrance, reminding you of who you are and who you're becoming. Because confidence isn't something you find, it's something you practice moment by moment, word by word, thought by thought. Part 5. Final insight plus challenge. Here's the truth that's been quietly echoing beneath everything we've explored. Confidence isn't about forcing power into yourself. It's not about faking it until you break down. And it's not about performance. Confidence is presence. It's the courage to become silent enough to hear what's already true inside you. It's about remembering that the voice you've been waiting for, the one that tells you you are enough, has always been yours. When your inner speech aligns with your higher self, with the part of you that is already whole, already worthy, already powerful, your outer reality begins to shift. Your posture changes. Your tone of voice steadies. Your decisions sharpen. Your opportunities expand. So don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the world to validate what your soul already knows. Start speaking it into being. Because you are always manifesting through your thoughts, your words, your assumptions. The only question is, are you creating by default or by design? Here's a challenge for you. 7 days of conscious confidence. Here's your invitation. For the next 7 days, practice one powerful rule. Every thought about myself must elevate, not diminish. Catch the moments when your inner dialogue turns critical, dismissive, or small. When you hear, "I'm not good at this, it's too difficult. I'm not smart enough. I'll never be like them." Pause. Breathe. Replace it with truth. I am learning fast. I grow stronger with every step. My path is my own, and I trust it. Let this be your mental diet, feeding your brain not with fear, but with freedom. Speak life into your identity. Let your words reshape your world. Here are some statements. As we come to the close of this journey, take a moment. Let everything you've heard settle into your awareness. The science, the spirituality, the practices, they all point to one truth. Confidence is not something you find. It's something you awaken. It begins with your words. The way you speak to yourself becomes the way you move through the world. So now, let's speak not from fear, but from alignment. Not from doubt, but from knowing. Let these final words echo, not just in your mind, but in your nervous system, in your self-image, in your future. Here is a list of affirmations. Take a break and relax. Recite these affirmations while feeling each one. I am confident. I trust my mind and my path. I speak power into my identity. I'm becoming who I already am. I master my inner conversation day by day. I fuel myself with clarity. I fuel myself with courage. I fuel myself with progress. I fuel myself with presence. I fuel myself with intention. I fuel myself with gratitude. I fuel myself with trust. I fuel myself with purpose. I fuel myself with kindness. I fuel myself with strength. I fuel myself with vision. I fuel myself with alignment. I fuel myself with love. I fuel myself with action. All is well. It's done.